Good evening. Turn my microphone on. Good evening. It's time to call the January 10th, 2023 Warwick County Board of Education meeting to order. First order of business is our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have Mrs. Good with us down. I'm going to ask her if she'll lead us. You don't have to come up. You can do it right from there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Good. Okay, I need a motion to, before I get there, I'd like to take a minute and have a moment of silence for a retired employee that we lost. We try to do that if we remember them, and anytime you know somebody has passed away that's a retired employee, let me know. But Juanita Kemp. Juanita was a secretary at the high school, principal secretary for many years, and was, I can tell you, she was always kind to me. She always had a smile on her face and was always kind to people. So with that, if we could have a moment of silence for Juanita. Thank you. Okay, we're down to approval agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
A motion to approve the agenda. It looks like under information we have Krista Good, who's here for a presentation. Under routine business, under employment, we have a name, Joyce Boyce, as Supervisory Aide 2, Special Education. And under new business policies, we have struck out the Supreme Court of Appeals of West Virginia use of force policy for board discussion. I'm going to give Mr. McCallum a second here to explain why that was struck out.
So I have included the policy of the West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals that describes juvenile probation officers carrying and the use of force. So there was a question by the board on our liability if our JPO were to carry. So I have sent that policy on to Bowles-Rice to see if that legally covers us or if we need to draft an additional policy, and I don't have that information back yet. So I've included a digital copy of that in your packet for you to review that policy, but I didn't want to have half-baked discussion since I didn't have that back from our legal services yet. So it's my intention to have that on our next agenda. Hopefully I'll have that and we can finish that discussion.
Very good. Any questions, comments about the agenda as presented? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the agenda with the noted changes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, information, Mr. McCown, if you want to.
So we have Mrs. Good with us, and she is going to share some of her information on the Holocaust that she has compiled over the years. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes, it is.
Is this, I don't normally need one of these, so that's...
It's a little bit louder than usual, but you're fine.
This evening I'm going to just very briefly talk to you about the importance of Holocaust education and go into just a tiny bit of detail about the trip that I was able to take in 2019 BC before COVID. And I was able to go to Poland with a group out of Pittsburgh called Classrooms Without Borders, and I traveled to Poland with teachers all up and down the East Coast. And to say that it was a life-changing experience would be an understatement. First of all, a lot of people will ask me, well, why do you study the Holocaust? That's very grim, it's very dark. And I believe it's critical in today's world. The lessons that we can learn from the Holocaust are extremely important, and the world as we know it is getting smaller. And I know sometimes Work County feels very isolated and insulated, but the world is shrinking. And I want to be able to give my students the tools that they need to be able to function in a global world. And one of the reasons why that Holocaust education is important is just that reason. The world is shrinking, and it's coming. And I want our students to be prepared for that. It also helps them because I focus on being an upstander. I want my students to focus on not the horrors so much as it is being an upstander and standing up for what's right and not just letting things pass you by. And that's how I start, because I have fifth graders and they are so young. When you go to the Yad Vashem, when you go through these conferences, they call this an easy in and easy out. We want to kind of ease our students in and then ease them back out so that the trauma, because this is very trauma inducing. And I will tell you that through my trips, for weeks and weeks after I got back from Poland, I would cry for no reason at all, or smell would hit me and would remind me of something, and it took me back. So these can be very traumatic, even just the stories. So that's why we engage in what we call easy in and easy out. But I wanted to share with you this evening, just briefly, the three camps that we were able to tour. The first one is Treblinka, and these three are in Poland. And Treblinka is, it was an extermination camp, it was not a concentration camp. And the interesting thing about Treblinka was once it had done its job, once the Jews that had lived around Warsaw was what the Germans, the Nazis declared as eradicated, they tried to hide it. They tried to bury everything. And the only reason we know Treblinka and the layout of Treblinka today is because there were less than 25 survivors to escape. So they have told us the layout. And when you go to Treblinka today, the only thing that is there is that large memorial, and there's stones. And those stones have names etched in them. There are hundreds of them, and it's villages that were wiped out. And the names of the villages are etched on the stones, except for the one stone that you see there. And it is dedicated to a Polish Jewish doctor, Janusz Korczak, who's one of my heroes. He ran an orphanage, and when his 200 orphans were told they had to report to be sent on the trains, he was offered the chance to leave by a German soldier who knew who he was and said, "You were one of my favorite authors when I was a child," and he didn't. He marched his children with dignity to the train, and he lost his life along with his orphans at Treblinka. The next place we visited was Majdanek. And Majdanek hit me the hardest because the stories that came out of there were some of the cruelest. The picture that you see in the bottom is the bunks that they slept in. Oftentimes they were three-tiered bunks. Oftentimes there were 3 or 4 people in each bunk. You can see the guardhouse, and that odd-looking picture at the top is the memorial that is there. And when they went through and murdered the Jews, they had to do something with the bodies. So they cremated them, and they dumped their ashes in the surrounding fields. When they went to put a memorial there, they disinterred those and put them in this memorial, and that is what that is. You look at that, that is human remains, and that's not all of it, that's just a portion. But you stand there and you look at what is lost, and what goes through your mind is incalculable. The last place we visited was, of course, Auschwitz. And then we went through Auschwitz-Birkenau, which Auschwitz was full of a lot of sump camps. And you can see the famous sign. The wall that you see is dubbed as the shooting wall, and I don't think I have to go into detail for that. But that is the place where you walk. And honestly, that one kind of surprised me because it wasn't at all like I expected. There was a gift shop there, and I was really kind of surprised. And when I asked the rabbi, who was my scholar, my leading scholar, I said, this strikes me as wrong. Why is there a gift shop? They were selling pizzas and Pepsi and books. And I said, this just doesn't strike me as right. And he said, when you have 1.5 million visitors every year, you've got to have something for them. He said, then it hit me how many people really visit that every year. And that one, when I say it's life-changing, it truly was. Birkenau, you can see a picture of the cattle car that they often rode in. The cattle cars, I don't think I have to tell you, were not luxury trains. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, again, fields, and those fields are where the remains of the millions of Jews that went through there, that is where they are interred now. And you have to be very, very careful when you go there. People ask me all the time, why do I do this? And I've been called the Holocaust lady now. But my students need to know this, and what this does for me is, and I know some people say, well, you're an English teacher, why do you do this? That's social studies. I teach it through literature. And a social studies teacher can, yes, tell you that 6 million Jews were killed, 1.5 million children under the age of 14 were killed. But that is a very large number to wrap my children to wrap their heads around. I can't wrap my head around that many people. The state of West Virginia has a population of approximately 1.8 million. So multiply that. But when I can take literature and I can take it down to one story, and I can bring one story to my students, then I can make that come alive for them and maybe spark their interest and maybe make them see that, you know what, I'm not the center of the world, but I need to stand up for what's right. I hope that's what I do. These trips I went to New York this past summer, and these trips have changed my life, but they also have empowered me as a teacher to really engage with my students, to help me see that they're my future. And that's what I tell my fifth graders. If you ask my fifth graders all the time, what are you to me? I'm your future, Mrs. Good. And they are. They're your future too. And that's why we need to invest in their learning. And for me, these trips, the lessons that I have learned on all of the trips that I've taken through the traveling, and Mr. Metz can tell you, international travel is an amazing way to teach students about life. When I'm able to do that, when I can show them pictures and they can say, can I see more? Do we have to stop today? Oh, Mrs. Good, are you going to stop reading today? Oh, can we please just read one more chapter? Then I've done my job. And that's why I wanted to let you know that the value to the educators is there. Yes, I know this is not a wonderful topic to talk about, and I tell my students, you need to let me know. If this bothers you, please let me know, because I'll take care of that. But they need to know this critical part of history just for their own development. And I appreciate the fact that you let me come here and talk this evening about that. I could talk for hours and hours and hours, but you have things to do. So I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Krista.
Excellent.
I can detect passion in your voice.
When you stood in a room where millions of men and women have lost their lives, and they took their last
Thank you. Okay, we have no delegations, so we'll move on to approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the December 13th, 2022 regular meeting.
So moved.
Any corrections, questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the December 13th, 2022 Warwick County Board of Education regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Down to finance, need a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $222,102.50.
So moved.
Mr. McCowan.
So we have 7 runs of expenditures for your consideration tonight. Mrs. Cummings could not be here, so as some of you have already observed, the basket is kind of running over again this evening. So the first batch of expenditures on 12/19/2022 totaling $71,185.78. This is primarily P-Card for Gordon Foods, Harris Oil for $17,598.67 diesel. We had the reading conference that teachers attended on that, and then also the Websterant store for some utility cards and a can opener. The second run of expenditures on 12/20/2022 totaling $39,626.60. This was the cost associated with our yearly audit. Then on 12/27/2022 in the amount of $10,320.44 Amazon purchases. On 12/30/2022 for $901.41 PEIA retiree insurance. On 1/4/2023 in the amount of $34,095.51 utilities. Also on 1/4/2023 in the amount of $45,972.76. We have Amazon instructional supplies. We have the $10,000 portion, which is the public library's share of the levy. And we've got a speaker talking about the dangers of students vaping for $3,600. Finally, on 1/5/2023, in the amount of $20,000, we have HealthSmart for our county dental vision insurance. All of these runs of expenditures total $222,102.50.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $222,102.50. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Then the budget transfers. So I need a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $365,247.46.
So moved.
Mr. McCowan.
Okay, all of these transfers, we are looking at the end of ESSER Round 2 funding. Those have got to be encumbered and spent by the end of September. And we've got several folks in these positions, so what we have done here in all of these transfers is we are moving Round 2 money around into different pots to try to utilize that for salary and various things for those people this year, so that we can save the Round 3 money to keep those people in the position through next year with the ESSER Round 3 funds. So if you look at that, the $30,012, that is moving to cover the aide position that we just authorized and will later hire a person into that position. The $108,672.05 are the ESSER Round 2 teacher salaries, and then finally the $226,563.41. That is for the 3 anticipated aides and the teacher salary moving into next year. So we know that money is running out. We want to keep and not RIF all the positions that we can to keep them an additional year, and that's what those budget transfers are for.
Any questions, comments? Sounds like a good plan. Okay, we have a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $365,247.46. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to budget supplements. I need a motion to approve budget supplements in the amount of $79,949.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So two additional supplements coming in. The first, $31,215. This is our yearly Tools for Schools technology money. And this year, we are spending that on iPads for the primary center. Then we have this year's continuation of the Gear Up grant for $48,000, $48,734 for this year's allocation of our Gear Up grant.
Questions? Glad to see we're still getting Gear Up.
It's a good thing.
It's a good program. It does good things for our students. Okay, we have a motion to approve the budget supplements in the amount of $79,949. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have them. Okay, we're down to routine business personnel matters, and I'm going to recuse myself on number 1 for personal, whatever, not really gain, but personal reasons. So Mrs. Yoder will take that.
Yep. Okay, so we need a motion to approve Brenda Metz resignation, substitute teacher, effective January 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
So I would just like to say Mrs. Metz has been a wonderful substitute teacher. She taught for us for many, many years and did an outstanding job at various different, whether it was pre-K or whatever she did. And then she has subbed for us for a number of years, including several long-term subs that she took when we really had a hard time getting folks, and she really saved our bacon on numerous occasions. So I wish her all the best in her second retirement, her retirement from subbing, and I hope she enjoys a lot of additional time with her grandson. So I want to thank her for all her many years of service.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the resignation of Brenda Metz, substitute teacher, effective January 2nd, 2023. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Let's have it.
Okay, we're down to number 2. Need a motion to accept the resignation of Samantha Turner as preschool teacher at Worth County Primary Center, effective pending the preschool teacher position being filled.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So she has changed residence, and this job is closer to where she is living. So we will post this pending your accepting her resignation and try to fill it with a certified teacher. But and we've had conversation with her. She knows that certified teachers are few and far between, so there's a possibility that she would remain where she is through the end of this school year and then move at the completion of her current contract. So her letter was in your packet. She has been an outstanding teacher for us, and sad to see her go, but understanding, wanting to move closer to home.
Any questions, comments? I'll just second that. She's just an excellent teacher, and we'll miss her in preschool. Miss her. Okay, we have a motion to approve Samantha Turner resignation, preschool teacher, Worth County Primary Center, effective pending the teacher's position being filled. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to employment. Okay, need a motion to approve Joyce Boyce, Supervisory Aide 2, Special Education, effective January 11th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So this was the position that you authorized the last board meeting. Joyce was the successful bidder on that position, and her application is in your packet.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Joyce Boyce, Supervisory Aide 2, Special Education, effective January 11th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Need a motion to approve Tracy Murray, Special Education Bus Aide, effective January 11th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So we also authorized this the last board meeting. We have need of a special ed bus aide. Tracy was the successful bidder on that posting, and her application is in your packet.
Good. Any questions, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Tracy Murray, Special Education Bus Aide, effective January 11th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we are down to substitute teachers. Okay, need a motion to approve Kaylee Epling, pending completion of her certification.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
Her application is in your packet. She recently graduated from Marshall University with a music degree, and it's just waiting for Charleston to process her final transcript and all that before so that should happen at any time. I think she is from the area, and we look forward to hiring another substitute teacher.
So she is a certified teacher, right? Just in
With music,
With
yes.
music. Okay, that's good. Any other questions, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Kaylee Epling, pending completion of her certification. I'll get it out. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to 4. We need a motion to change the start date for the esports coach position from December 14th, 2022 to October 17th, 2022.
So moved.
So this was a mistake on my part. So when I brought that to you for board action for you to approve that hire, it mistakenly said effective immediately, where that person has been in that position doing that work, and we need to pay them for that. So I'm asking you to amend that and make the starting date for that back to when they started to work with the esports, so that we can pay them for the work that they've done. So I'm asking you to amend that date from the December date that we did back when that work started with esports with the students on October 17th.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to change the start date for the esports coach position from December 14th, 2022 to October 17th, 2022. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to new business, volunteers and chaperones for the 22-23 school year. Okay, with the board, I'm going to take both of these under one motion, unless there's some reason you don't want me to. Okay, need a motion to approve volunteers and chaperones for 22-23 school year. We have Justin Klein, Worth County High School, and Justin Conley, Worth County Middle School.
So moved.
And I think their information was in their packets. I don't.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think they're good to go. Any questions, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve volunteer chaperones for 22-23 school year. Justin Klein, Worth County High School. Justin Conley, Worth County Middle School. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we need a motion to abolish the position of special education support teacher / coach.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
This is the extra duty position that Jackie Harris had, helping the middle school teachers with IEPs, and since she has resigned from that, we need to ask you to abolish that at this board meeting so that we can make changes to the posting and tweak the posting a little bit and bring it back to you to authorize changes to that at the next board meeting so that we can then repost.
Any questions? Here none, we have a motion to abolish the position of special education support teacher / coach. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we have an out-of-county transfer, so I'll need a motion for one student from Wood to Worth.
So moved.
And I think that information was in your packet.
Yep.
Any questions, comments? Here none, we have a motion to approve one student from Wood to Worth. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Down to policies. Okay, need a motion to put out on public comment the questionnaire and surveys, the student policy, pending. Okay, I'm going to change. You ready? Okay. We need a motion to put out for public comment the questionnaire and survey of student policy. I think I'm saying the same thing, just saying it differently. And that'll go out on the 30-day comment period. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Count.
So I made a hard copy of that just because if you're proofing or you want to write on that, it's easier to do that on a hard
Thank you.
copy for me than it is. So quickly going over the highlights of this, it says, Worth County schools may periodically utilize surveys and questionnaires to gather information from students on specific topics. The purpose of this policy is to establish parameters that govern the types of information that may be sought and the methods of gathering student information that may be utilized. So the two provisions for this, student participation in surveys needs to be anonymous for students, and then it needs to be voluntary, and students and parents need to have the ability to opt out unless it is a policy that's mandated from the state or the Federal Department of Education or the West Virginia Board of Education. Provision 2, student surveys that are wanting to be conducted from external researchers unless it's required by the U.S. Department of Education, the West Virginia Department of Education, or the West Virginia Board of Education. Requests from individuals or organizations outside of Worth County schools to conduct research must include the distribution of surveys and must be approved through the following process. The first is approval of the superintendent. The second is approval of the board. On here, I put that the survey is brought to you under information. That way you have time to digest it, and then at a subsequent board meeting, it's brought back as an action item for you to vote and approve. No data collected from a questionnaire should be sold or shared for commercial purposes. And then finally, the last provision, school or district level surveys, and I put the following do not require prior approval: surveys that are mandated from the Department of Education. Principals may collect routine, informal student, staff, or family feedback data to assess school culture and climate. On page 2. District administration may also collect routine or informal student, staff, or family feedback data to assess district culture and climate. And then finally, teachers do not need prior approval for the collection of classroom data related to routine or informal student or family feedback data related to assessment, self-evaluation, or any other relevant educational purpose. So if it's something that they're doing in their classroom as part of either their evaluation process where they've got to set goals for their evaluation, or if it's they're collecting data that they use as part of their instruction process. So I hope you asked me to draft a policy. I'm open for suggestions.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So, number 2 specifically says external researchers, and then number 3 gets into school and district surveys. Can we add something about students who might be doing surveys as part of a science project or a social studies project? I mean, I would think there would be some sort of approval process for that, but bringing it to the board and going through that whole process might not give them enough time to actually collect data and analyze it and put their project together before it would be due. So, something that outlines that they may conduct a survey and then, they run it by the principal or through you or
I
something.
didn't really think about students doing surveys. So that's,
I only do
that's a
because
good
I know a
thought.
student that did one for a social studies project. So,
I'm sorry, Miranda, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Just wanted
If we're
to
going to
throw
put
something
that
out.
in there for what we're going to approve for tonight, okay, because all we're doing tonight is
Okay.
approving it for it to go out
For comment.
for comment. I have no problem adding that in there, but we need to be specific with the language before we approve it to go out.
Okay.
And then once it goes out, then all those comments from board members, from community will come in to Mr. McCallum through the survey or through the website, or they can do it, on a piece of paper and bring it to Mr. McCallum. Then we'll gather that, and then we'll look at all the suggestions, and if there's suggestions that we wish, we'll put into the policy at that point. So there will be a chance to
Sure.
change the policy. Yes. So I have no problem if we want to be specific with the language for students now, so we know what we're passing.
And I didn't know if we just wanted to throw it under school and district surveys as another bullet for students and say that, I would think they need some sort of approval, not like the teachers or the principal not needing approval.
I think that teacher and principal approval would, because you probably don't want science fair project surveys or social studies coming
Exactly.
before
Right.
you guys.
No.
So I'm fine with adding a bullet to number 3 that clarifies students doing surveys for science, social studies, or any other
Yeah.
educational topic.
Yeah.
Should you put before the teacher's approval?
I think first the teacher needs to approve it, and then school building principal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
We'll give Mr. McCallum here a second to write that down, and then he'll read it, and we'll make it part of what we put out for comment.
I mean, they weren't specifically excluded from doing a survey based on any of this, but there really wasn't a process for them to get approval,
Yeah.
so.
And what he's doing now, go ahead, for the audience and for board members, this will be put onto the website, to Ware County Board of Education website. And if you would, Mr. McCallum, also, if the schools, a lot of people pay attention to the school websites,
Sure.
but not
Yeah.
necessarily the board website. So if we can also have it posted on the board website or in the school websites, how they can make comments, whether they wish to make comments written or through that process that's on there that we have. Yeah.
Okay, so I've drafted an additional bullet point under number 3, and it says, students conducting surveys for science fair, social studies fair, or other educational purpose must get the survey approved by the student's teacher and the building principal.
Yeah.
Guys?
That's good.
Well, how about the survey itself put out for public display? You know, just so that everything's above board and transparent. Would you want to wait until?
Yeah, till we
Okay,
get,
Okay.
yeah, till we, I mean, that'll,
Oh,
we'll probably get that one quite a few times.
We should also have, when we're talking about voluntary participation, before the clear directions, we need to put something in there about informed consent. The parents or guardians need to know what they're agreeing to.
Yeah, I think that goes along with what you're saying there.
So we need to have informed consent. And in that informed consent, we also need to let the participants and the parents and guardians know of any risks to their students.
Yeah, we'll wait and do that when it's out for
Are we putting in
comment.
what she just said?
Yeah,
Then we need to put in what we just said
well,
also.
then we won't put in what she said. We'll go with what we have. And then you can make that a suggestion and we'll put it in. Okay, we're strictly going on what we approved here. Or what we made a motion on. And then the rest will come in through comments and, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve the questionnaire and survey policy of students to go out for a 30-day comment period. It will be posted on the Work County Board of Education site, the 3 school sites, with a way to comment electronically and a way to send your comments in written form.
Will there also be an all-call letting parents know about this?
Yeah, I can do that.
And we usually don't do that for policies. There's no need to do that. Mr.
No,
McKay.
there is, because we did it before, so.
Not
if
for
we should have an
policies.
all-call. Well, does it hurt to let the parents be informed of what's going on?
Well, we're letting them be informed. There's,
Well,
I
then
mean,
an all-call helps inform the parents.
yeah. It's
We'll
not,
put- when we put it on the website, it'll go out with
Yeah.
with the
You look
aptitude, with the aptitude
Right,
on
so it's,
social
what
media.
I'm asking for is an all-call to let the parents know.
if
that
you
this
look
is
at our
common.
policy dealing with development of policies, it says that it goes out for comment, 30-day comment. It doesn't
So
say it
we're
goes
just
out
letting
on
them
all.
know that it's going to be there for 30 days with an all-call.
It's not what our policy says. We're going to
Does
follow
our
the
policy say that we cannot do an all-call?
No, but there's no
Okay.
need to. We're going to follow our policy. If we want to do all calls for policies, then we need to bring back our policy development policy and change it
I
to
just-
say that we do all calls.
I'm having a hard time understanding why you're not wanting the parents to know that we're doing this.
Because we're treating the same as we've treated every other policy that we've done.
Just because you've always wanted to keep the parents from knowing, doesn't mean that we should continue to do this.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the questionnaire and surveys of students for a 30-day comment. All in favor say aye.
Wait, does this motion include that we're going to have an all-call?
We already have a motion.
No, I'm saying, I'm clarifying. Does this motion?
No.
So you're motioning it without an all-call to the parents?
Yes, we're motioning it
You're
the way
motioning it without,
We're motioning to follow the policy we already
That
have
we have.
established for
which
how we
policy that
put
says
it.
that we can't have all-calls?
it doesn't,
Policy
but,
that says we're required to post it on the website.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to
Right, so we're
do.
saying, can we get an all-call?
okay, we have a motion and I have it open for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Okay, we're down to board concerns. Start with Mr. Stewart.
No,
Ms. Yoke? Mrs. Yoke, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Sorry.
You good, Mr. Sherrill?
Yeah, I have a concern that we are not letting parents know what's going on and that it seems to be habitual that some of the board members are resistant to informing, using every means at our disposal to inform parents of what we're doing.
We have a policy that explains how, we have a policy on how the board generates and evaluates policies. And there is a precedent, a standard operating procedure that's been in place that we have not done an all-call. I believe that the policy says that it's posted, it's put on comments, and it's available for anybody to read the policy and to make a public comment. There's nothing nefarious about this. I mean, it's there.
But 5 minutes ago, you said you could do an all-call.
I'm
You
not-
said I would. You said I can do that, and then now you're saying that there's a policy that says we can't.
Yeah, we've already passed it. It's going to follow the policy.
Okay, but I'm saying 5 minutes ago you said you could do an all-call, and now you're saying you're not going to do it.
When this gets put out on the school web pages, it's going to be on the social media thing for parents to see. I don't see the need to do an additional all-call if it's out there and it's posted on ThrillShare on social media. But it doesn't specifically say that we do an all-call in our policy, and I will follow what the direction of the board is.
Anything else, Ms. Charlotte?
Yeah, we should do an all-call to let the parents know when we have these up. And my concern is that by not doing that, we are again giving the perception that we are trying to not let parents know when we're updating policies.
That is,
Especially when we have a very easy tool to let them know that we have a policy up if they'd like to review it.
that again is your opinion.
It is my opinion, because my default opinion is that we need to keep parents informed and not restrict our means of communication with parents.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, last time, Mr. McCown, we talked about your evaluation being on.
So we have schools that are still completing their winter benchmark testing. That's
Okay.
still going to be going on through the end of this week, beginning of next week.
You want to go to
I'm going to
February?
need a little bit more time for that benchmark to finish up, to get the growth data that my goals were based on, so I'm going to ask that that be on the first February
Absolutely.
board meeting, please.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Okay, so that wasn't a motion or anything we had. It was just something that would go on the agenda. So we'll wait and do that first one in February. Very good. With all that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.